Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've talked a lot about the Owen gun over the course of the past couple of months. It's been one of my favorite weapons in the game, without a doubt. And obviously, I've got my class set up and loadout for it that I've talked about numerous times here on the channel. But the other day, I was sitting there thinking, is there a way I could make this even better? And while I've changed up the gun a lot, I think I have found a way to build the Owen that actually gives it an absolutely insane TTK, one that's even better than it was before. So today, as we go over everything, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, news, updates, loadouts, tips. You're gonna find it all right here. So feel free to subscribe with those notifications turned on. So what we're looking at here is my main Owen gun loadout that we've been talking about, like I said, for quite some time. Really, the only difference here is fabric and polymer. I'm going back and forth. Polymer obviously is a lot easier to use. I've been testing out fabric and messing around with this to see if it's really worthwhile with the increased recoil. Really, it comes down to preference. Both of these are great options for that. But this TTK is good. We're gonna break down the stats here momentarily, and this setup works fine for what it is. But like I said, I wanted to see if I could make it better. And the way that I was looking at this is, well, we've got this TTK here, but what's going to impact this the most? Obviously, we've got our recoil booster, we got our rapid barrel on there. Both of those are all right for time to kill and increasing that. We also want to focus on the magazine though. When we look at this here, we are losing velocity and range here, but we don't gain anything extra. We're getting better control, better fire rate here. And that's also helping out with that TTK to a certain extent. But when you look at these other options, we also have the Kurz 60 round drums, which increase the damage and the velocity and the range. It hurts the control a little bit, it hurts the movement speed and whatnot, and the fire rate a little bit, but I wanted to see if there was a way that I could make this work. So I threw these on and I tested this loadout here, and I'm not gonna lie, it was not ideal. The recoil is a lot more noticeable and not something I was a huge fan of. So I'm sitting here going, okay, what can I do to combat the recoil and make that a little bit better? And my first thought was, well, we've got our barrel here. This is hurting our accuracy. It doesn't say it hurts the control too much, but if I go ahead and I take this off, and we're gonna again look at the recoil plots here in a moment as well. Dropping the barrel here to me made this a lot more usable all of a sudden. So that said, let's see how the TTKs compare. So we're here on True Game Data. As always, shout out to Tony for gathering all the intel, all the data on all these guns so we can actually have these stats readily available to us. And we've got 3 different builds of the Owen gun here, then also a well gun one that I want to compare here after we go ahead and look at the Owens versus one another. But this first one is our standard Owen setup. Obviously, we got recoil booster, the rapid barrel, the Garanko 72, what we were just looking at the start of the video. I also have the Owen gun with the recoil booster on there still, but we have the mentioned Kurz 60 round drums. And I also wanted to see if you took off the recoil booster and gave it some better control, because there's no denying the recoil with the 60 Kurz versus the 72 is a little bit more noticeable, but it's not game breaking. I wanted to see if I threw on maybe the silencer, if that would change anything much. And then again, we have the Kurz there. So really what we want to focus on though is the pink versus the orange line here. And you can see to the chest, our normal Owen setup, it has a great TTK through and through, and actually past 25 meters is beating this new setup. But with the visual recoil, with the pattern in general, 25 meters is a good point to, switch to your other gun. If you're using the Owen, it's not going to be incredible past then. We're looking at, a 0.9 TTK anyways there, so almost a second long TTK. Through 25 meters though, this is obviously very different. Our pink line here with the Kurz is way better, especially around that 13 to honestly 26 meter mark. There is a noticeable difference in the TTK here, and even with the silencer on there instead of the recoil booster, you're still getting a very, very good TTK through and through. If we go ahead and we look at the headshots here, it is going to be more of the same. While through the first 13 meters you are getting a slightly better TTK with our normal Owen setup, the other ones then do take over. If we hide the well gun here momentarily, you can see the others do take over here, and it's more the same through about that 26 meter mark. To the neck, it's going to be another similar story. The silencer build is right there with our non-silencer and versus the recoil build, and through 26 meters, it is drastically better than before. To the stomach, this one's kind of interesting. The original Owen build actually does have a better TTK through about 17 meters, but then it sees one very severe drop off there, and obviously our new builds are taking over there through, again, 26 meters. And then when we look at the extremities, this is the one place where I feel like the old build really does thrive, and it's doing well through 17 meters, but it does also have that drop off. So for about a third of that main primary area, our new build is gonna best it there. But hey, to the head, to the neck, to the chest, to the stomach for the most part, our new build here with the Kerr's 60 round drums is absolutely frying. Now you might wonder how that fares against something like the Well Gun, which a lot of people view as that best SMG. Well, it's the green line here, and you can see our new build through about 20 meters is actually doing a lot better than it does take over. The Well Gun takes over, that is, for 2 whole meters, then it drops off until that 26 meter mark yet again. So once more, the same story. Through 26 meters, this new build is nearly unbeatable. The headshots here are a lot more competitive. Our new Owen build, though, is right there through 20 meters. Then it's not really much of a competition. The Well Gun definitely does take over there. Looking at the neck shots, the Well Gun does fry here. There's no denying that. The Well Gun has a great neck multiplier, but we're not that far behind. We're looking at a 0.506 versus around a 0.472, maybe closer to like 4.8 here, which is really not that big of a difference and something you definitely can't notice instantly in game. To the stomach, more of the same pretty much. And then lastly, we go ahead, we look at the limbs here, the upper arm. Well Gun is doing pretty good, no denying that there. So to the neck and to the limbs, the Well Gun is still probably one of those top options, but this new Owen Gun build absolutely is frying. Now I mentioned the recoil earlier. Shout out to True Game Data again. He's got the recoil plots here for us to look at, and obviously this is just with the muzzle and the barrel and the mags on there. In the case of our new build, the muzzle and the mag, and you can see here, yeah, our new build with the Kerrs, the purple and the teal lines here, they do have a bit more recoil than our initial Owen Gun build. But through 25 meters, where we're pretty much using this exclusively, our targets are still pretty big, and in my opinion, it's still relatively easy to stay on target. And obviously, we can add other attachments on there to help out with the control, like the hand stop. You can see this has a bit of horizontal movement, not a ton, but it is moving from right to left here. If we stack them, you can see it is obviously going up and to the right. If we hide the Well Gun there, it is slowly moving up and to the right. And obviously, as well, with the vertical movement here, Carver and hand stop help out a lot with that as well. Carver especially is really good for vertical, so you could throw on either of those, and again, you're going to be able to combat this in a decent way. So to me, the recoil is not a huge issue. If you're on console, it's obviously going to be a little bit more noticeable, but this is one of those weapons where you got to work a little bit and you'll get a really good TTK out of it. So obviously this setup can hold its own, and yes, it's going to feel a little bit different than our previous Owen build, but getting used to that is that only hurdle, and now having a much better TTK when it comes down to it through those prime 25, 26 meters where you're going to be using this the most. Now, as mentioned, that recoil is a little bit different, so you could certainly go in and swap out hand stop for Carver if you wanted to. You'll probably notice a little bit less harsh vertical recoil there. If you wanted to, you could also try running the M1929 silencer, basically the MX silencer here. Hurts your ADS speed a little bit, but also helps out that vertical and horizontal control. Mercury also probably wouldn't be too bad here, but it mainly focuses on horizontal, so I think the M1929's a little bit more advantageous, but this is one variant of this new setup that I feel like works really, really well. The other one obviously is recoil booster, Carver, and then also hand stop. Any variation of those with obviously the Kerr 60 on here is gonna equate to having that really, really good TTK in the super dominant Owen build that honestly I've really been enjoying. Now, if you're wondering why we're not using a barrel, first up, the shrouded here, yeah, you're getting better limb damage, but you have no headshot multiplier, and it also hurts your control even more, so tying that in with the Kerrs probably is not ideal. Rapid, as we saw, or as we talked about, while it doesn't say it necessarily hurts the control, with the increased fire rate, it just doesn't feel super ideal all the time. And then precision here, you get better headshot damage, you get better control, but you're losing body damage, so it kind of negates having the 60 round drums on here in the first place. So that's why I'm opting for no barrel here. Definitely an experimental loadout, but one that is actually surprisingly good. So I'd recommend jumping in and testing this out. Obviously, you get good TTKs with both of these Owen setups, our initial one and this new one. Whatever one you feel more comfortable with, that's one that you should probably be running with, but there is one out there, this build in particular, that has an insanely good TTK. That said, that is going to wrap things up though. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in the world of Call of Duty. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post noties. That way you'll always know whenever I post a new video. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.